Tim is one of a handful of Australians taking part in a groundbreaking clinical trial.
I'm hoping that the drug trial proves to be successful and becomes a miracle cure.
Researchers are experimenting with a drug that could mean a paradigm shift in the treatment of mental illness.
This is the first study of its kind in Australia. We wanted to see, does this really work?
Is it possible that a party drug could be the next big thing in treating depression? The drug of choice? Ketamine. You may know it as a party drug. Its street name is Special K. You can snort it, you can smoke it, or you can inject it. Ketamine users often describe the feeling as an out-of-body experience.
And that is a detachment of the body and the psyche, so to speak. This, in the party scene, is the high. Some people feel as if they're looking down on their body. They can hallucinate or have delusions with ketamine.
Its recreational use is illegal, but ketamine was originally developed as an anaesthetic for soldiers in the Vietnam War. Today, it's valuable in veterinary and human medicine.
Ketamine is widely used in medicine, both in anaesthesia and pain management. We use it in trauma anaesthesia, paediatric anaesthesia, burns.
Researchers are now buzzing with the prospect of using ketamine to treat mental illness.
I found that my motivation is near zero. Anything enjoyable is dulled or blunted. But it's like a great weight on my chest, and it builds up over time.
Like many sufferers of major depression, Tim found it difficult to find excitement even in the happiest of times, like his son's wedding.
When I was writing the speech, I was feeling detached from the whole process. I didn't have the motivation to it, and I didn't have that enjoyment that I should have got out of writing a speech for my son. It was, the happiest time of his life.
You might be, struggling to think, feeling like your brain is in a fog, but on the outside, you look well. So people think, well, what's wrong with you?
Tim tried all sorts of conventional treatments like electroconvulsive therapy and antidepressants.
As to the long term, there's nothing that's really given me that improvement at all.
Unfortunately, only 50% of patients respond to their first medication. And when they do, it usually takes weeks to kick in. But when the chips are down, weeks feel like years.
I always say to my patients that, I have very good hopes that we are going to be able to cure you. You just need to hold on until the treatments work. There are, unfortunately, some people who do end up taking their lives before they have effective treatment.
These researchers are hoping the rapid action of ketamine is the breakthrough they've been waiting for.
In this trial, we're looking at very low doses of ketamine, so we're looking at about 1/10 the dose of ketamine used in anaesthesia and seeing its antidepressant effects.
People are initially a bit surprised and a bit concerned about, my goodness, you're going to give me this drug. We then explain to them very carefully that we're giving it in a very carefully controlled dose and in a very carefully medically monitored setting.
The trial is blinded, so the anaesthetist is the only one who knows whether the injection contains ketamine or placebo. So Tim's in there at the moment having his infusion. Our cameras are not allowed in there while it happens because too much activity can bring on side effects like hallucinations.
You can just feel a bit unreal, things around you look a bit distorted, maybe the colours look different, things just seem a bit different. And these pass, so they're just there for the first 1 or 2 hours and then they pass away.
Medications usually work by altering serotonin or dopamine levels, but ketamine is different. It works on the glutamate system, which induces rapid signalling of memory and information processing.
It enhances the brain's ability to form new neurons, as well as forming connections between neurons, so helping in what's known as neuroplasticity.
A A similar study in the US found 70% of patients improved within a day of receiving a single dose of ketamine, making it potentially one of the biggest medical developments since the advent of antidepressants. Although not addictive like heroin, some are concerned that ketamine users could develop a dependency on it.
In a clinical setting, most drugs that we use that have addictive potentials don't go on to be abused by those patients.
It's still not known how long each treatment will last, but so far the results are remarkable.
What we've seen are sometimes a dramatic lifting of mood. So people feel, very, very down, very depressed. We give them the ketamine, and in a few hours, you can just see in front of your eyes. They look brighter, they start chatting, and they actually feel happy.
It's a very exciting field. We're hoping that it will open up doors for research into the development for new treatments of resistant depression.
It takes a few hours for Tim to emerge from his treatment. He won't know whether he had ketamine or placebo until the end of the trial. How are you feeling?
Great, thank you. I'm feeling surprisingly good, so I didn't expect this to happen. So now I feel a lot happier and smiling on the world. Yeah, so not sure how long it's going to last, but it's definitely made a difference.
Good, I'm glad for you. Well, all the best.
Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Tim. Good luck.
See you later.
Bye.
Despite the positive results so far, the researchers still need to secure funding for a long-term trial.